Yo, what's going on guys, and welcome back to another Modix video. Today, I wanted to make a really quick guide on 7 of the best Warzone beginner tips that you need to know if you're just starting out in Cold War Warzone. So starting us out today, we first have a tip concerning cash. This is probably going to be one of the biggest tips I give in this video because cash is so important when it comes to Warzone. You can easily gain the advantage in fights if you have more cash than your opponent simply by being able to purchase more utility from the buy station. And I know this might sound a bit far-fetched, but think about it like this. Let's say you're fighting another trio, but you have a UAV handy. If you can pop this, then you can know the other team's exact location as long as they don't have Ghost. Another example of this tip working is if you have enough cash, you'll be able to purchase your own loadout. When you do this, you will normally get 3 perks. And normally on your first loadout, you will have the overkill perk, so you're able to carry 2 primary weapons. And this goes into the second perk slot. However, like I mentioned earlier, in the earlier example, if you have Ghost, then you can stay stealthy across the map, and Ghost also goes in that second perk slot, so you can't equip both at the same time. A common tactic to do would be to purchase 2 separate loadouts so that you can get your 2 primary weapons while also picking up the second loadout solely for the Ghost perk. Think about it as if you're just spending those 10,000 credits for the 3 perks in your second loadout. In order to complete this tactic, you and your teammates need to get a hefty amount of cash, 20,000 to be exact. Hopefully that helped prove my point about why cash is so important in Warzone. That's why this next tip will help you gain cash faster than ever before. This next tip is taking advantage of contracts. Now, since this is a beginner guide, I do want to really quickly explain what contracts are. So basically, they are missions that can be completed in-game to earn more currency. For example, you can pick up a bounty contract and on your minimap, you will see a yellow circle appear, and this should allow you to pinpoint where the enemy player is. Kill this player that has the bounty over their head, and then you can be rewarded cash in return. The more contracts you complete, the more money you can earn. So I know that like first loading in, you might not want to be super aggro, and contracts can be pretty intimidating, but they aren't really that bad. And just a small mini tip that I like to use is picking up bounties just to know where enemy players are. I'll normally do this whenever my team has a long rotation because it lets us know where the other players rotating with us are. When we do this, we can use this information to change our rotation as needed. But anyways, just to sum up this tip, if you can get good at completing contracts, then you can rack up the cash needed to purchase various utility at buy stations so that you can gain the edge on your opponents. Now moving on to our third tip for today's guide, we have purchasing your loadout as soon as possible. This tip might be a no-brainer, but I still see players running around with floor loot with loads of cash in their pockets. And although it's good to save some money, it's more often than not better to purchase your first loadout just so that you're able to have the perks. Just for example, let's say you already found your perfect loadout with floor loot. This would be a good time to drop a loadout with your Ghost perk equipped and then just go and pick up the dropped weapons. This way you will still have your amazing weapons while also gaining the stealthy ability that most players love. Now by now you guys should probably be getting used to all the tips playing off of each other, and that trend's going to continue. For our 4th beginner tip, we have finding the perfect loadout. In Warzone, one of the hardest parts is surviving to get your loadout because you don't know what type of weapons you will get. However, since you're able to drop loadouts with 10,000 credits, you will be able to choose which weapons you get to use. One of the first things you need to do before ever loading into a game is creating a few loadouts that fit your playstyle. I have a few videos of these up on my channel, so be sure to go and check those out. Now switching topics completely, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that's dropping. I understand that when you start out playing Warzone, you probably constantly die right off the bat, and this next tip should help you with that. Our 5th tip on this list is learning drop spots to help learn how to survive during the early portions of the match, which in my opinion can be one of the hardest parts if you don't know your exact plan. Simply knowing 3 or 4 drops paired with their rotations will help you have a general plan as to what to do in the game. Honestly, this will just come with time, but once you start landing at this same place over and over again, you will learn where all the possible chest drops are, and this leads to getting better equipment than your opponents, and that means free kills as long as RNG is on your side. And going right along with that tip, the 6th tip for this video is to keep cover at all times. The reason that you die so much in Warzone is because you're leaving cover. This can mean that you are running carelessly while rotating, or you could be leaving your back exposed while taking another fight. In order to minimize this problem, you need to be constantly thinking about where you are positioning wise. You should never really be standing still in any battle royale, and that still applies with Warzone. So the next time you're engaging in a fight, try to think if your back is going to be exposed to a third partier. Well, that brings us to our final tip, which is to level up your weapons. If you have Cold War multiplayer, I would highly suggest leveling up a weapon a day so that you have all the attachments unlocked for each weapon. You never know what weapon will become part of the meta of Warzone, and so you always want to have all your weapons fully maxed so that you can copy any build that becomes meta. And the reasoning behind this is just as you level up your weapons, you unlock more attachments and you want all the attachments unlocked. And that's going to go ahead and do it for this beginner's Cold War Warzone tips and tricks guide. All I ask from you is that if you did enjoy this video, then be sure to give it a like. And if you enjoyed the video, then you're bound to like the video on the right side of your screen that's going to pop up really soon. Thanks so much for watching all the way through this video. Comment rant stressing if you hear this, and I'll catch you all in the next one.